Not every relationship that feels intense is healthy. Not every connection that pulls at the heart is love. Some relationships leave you constantly overthinking, questioning yourself, and feeling unsettled, even when nothing is openly wrong. That is not peace. Islam never described love as confusion. It described it as times sukoon, times calm, clarity, and rest for the heart. A relationship that is right does not drain you. It does not keep you anxious about where you stand. It does not pull you away from Allah while claiming to bring you closer to happiness. Peace is a sign, confusion is a warning. And when a relationship is aligned with what Allah wants, the heart knows, because instead of chaos, it feels still. Peace feels settled when your heart is no longer living in constant alert mode. You are not scanning every message, every pause, every change in tone for hidden meaning. Your mind is not racing ahead to imagine worst-case scenarios. Instead, there is a quiet confidence about where you stand. That calm is not excitement fading, it is safety arriving. And safety is one of the clearest signs of peace. In a settled relationship, you are not anxious about being replaced, ignored, or suddenly abandoned. You don't feel like love is conditional on your performance or silence. There is consistency in presence, even when life is busy or difficult. That consistency allows the heart to relax. Anxiety loses its grip when reliability becomes familiar. Peace shows itself in how you sleep. Your thoughts do not spiral late at night replaying conversations. You do not rehearse what you should have said or worry about what tomorrow will bring emotionally. The mind rests because it does not feel emotionally threatened. A peaceful connection lets the body rest as well as the soul. When peace is present, silence does not feel dangerous. A pause in conversation does not trigger panic. You do not assume distance means rejection. Silence is allowed to simply be silence. That freedom removes the need to constantly seek reassurance. Calm replaces urgency. An anxious relationship keeps the heart guessing. A peaceful one keeps it grounded. You are not forced to read between the lines because the lines are clear. Communication may not be perfect, but it is sincere. That sincerity removes confusion. And confusion is the root of emotional anxiety. Peace feels settled because you are not afraid to express needs. You do not swallow discomfort just to keep harmony. You trust that honesty will not be punished. Being able to speak without fear creates inner stability. Stability allows the heart to stay open. In peaceful connections, emotions are not used as weapons. Affection is not withdrawn to control behavior. Kindness is not conditional on agreement. This consistency teaches the heart that love is not fragile. Anxiety fades when love does not feel negotiable. When peace replaces anxiety, you stop over-explaining yourself. You no longer feel the need to justify every emotion or choice. You are understood without defending your existence. That understanding brings relief. Relief is often mistaken for boredom, but it is actually peace. A settled heart is not constantly bracing for conflict. You are not waiting for the next emotional shift. Even disagreements feel contained, not explosive. You trust that resolution is possible. That trust keeps the nervous system calm. Peace also changes how you view the future. You are not terrified of what tomorrow might bring emotionally. You are not planning escape routes in your mind. You can imagine stability without fear. That forward calm is a sign of emotional safety. Anxious relationships keep you hyper-aware of moods. Peaceful ones allow you to be present. You are not monitoring emotional weather constantly. You can focus on your life, your faith, your responsibilities. Presence replaces vigilance. When peace is settled, your body responds too. Shoulders relax, breathing slows, tension eases. Emotional anxiety always lives somewhere in the body. Peace gently releases it. That release feels like rest. You also stop confusing intensity with love. Anxiety often feels intense, but intensity is not peace. Peace feels quieter, deeper, and more stable. It does not rush your heart, it anchors it. Peace allows trust to grow naturally. You do not need constant proof of commitment. Actions speak consistently. Words are backed by behavior. Trust removes the need for emotional surveillance. In a settled relationship, you do not feel like you are walking on eggshells. You are not afraid that being yourself will disrupt everything. Authenticity is welcomed. That acceptance dissolves anxiety slowly but surely. Peace feels settled because you are not emotionally exhausted. You are not drained by highs and lows. Emotional energy is conserved. Balance replaces chaos. Balance nourishes the soul. An anxious heart is always seeking control. A peaceful heart feels no need to control. You release the urge to manage outcomes emotionally. Trust replaces tension. Trust brings stillness. When peace exists, you are not afraid of losing yourself. You do not disappear to maintain connection. Your identity remains intact. That integrity grounds the heart. Grounded hearts feel safe. Peace also aligns with faith. When anxiety fades, remembrance becomes easier. Dua flows naturally. The heart is not cluttered with fear. Peace creates space for Allah. A settled relationship does not constantly test your emotional limits. It strengthens them. You feel more resilient, not more fragile. Strength grows quietly in calm environments. In the end, peace does not shout. It does not rush. It does not confuse. It settles gently into the heart and stays. And when a relationship brings that kind of peace, it is not accidental. It is a sign of alignment, clarity, and emotional truth. Clarity replaces mixed signals when words and actions finally begin to agree. You are no longer trying to interpret hidden meanings or guess intentions. What is said is supported by what is done. This alignment removes mental exhaustion. The heart relaxes when it does not have to translate behavior. Clear intention feels like emotional honesty. In a clear relationship, you are not confused by sudden changes in tone. Affection does not appear and disappear without explanation. Distance is not used as a message. Communication may not always be perfect, but it is consistent. Consistency builds understanding. Understanding removes doubt. Mixed signals force the heart into constant analysis. Clarity frees it from that burden. You no longer replay conversations wondering what they really meant. You are not left filling in emotional gaps. The mind stops racing because the message is complete. Completeness brings calm. Clarity shows itself when expectations are spoken openly. There is no guessing game about commitment or direction. You know where the relationship is heading. Even uncertainty is expressed honestly. Honest uncertainty is still clarity. When clarity replaces confusion, reassurance is not demanded repeatedly. You do not feel insecure about your place. You are not searching for signs of interest or concern. Presence itself becomes reassurance. Reliability replaces emotional suspense. Clear relationships do not thrive on emotional ambiguity. They do not keep you unsure to maintain control. Transparency is chosen over power. This choice protects dignity. Dignity allows trust to grow. Clarity also means boundaries are respected and communicated. You are not punished for setting limits. You are not confused about what is acceptable. Boundaries are not tested secretly. Respect becomes predictable. When signals are clear, silence does not become manipulation. A pause is just a pause. Space is not used to create anxiety. This clarity removes fear from quiet moments. Quiet becomes peaceful rather than threatening. Clarity allows you to respond honestly instead of defensively. You are not constantly protecting yourself from emotional shifts. You can engage without fear. Safety replaces caution. Connection deepens naturally. In clear relationships, emotions are not used as leverage. Warmth is not withdrawn to provoke reaction. Kindness is not conditional. Stability becomes the emotional language. Stability communicates commitment. Clarity also removes the need for emotional testing. You do not need to provoke reactions to feel secure. You do not measure love by unpredictability. Love proves itself through steadiness. Steadiness feels safe. When clarity exists, growth becomes easier. You are not afraid that change will confuse everything. You can evolve without destabilizing the bond. Direction remains clear even during transition. That direction grounds the heart. Clear communication allows disagreement without chaos. You can talk through differences without fearing abandonment. Conflict does not erase clarity. It becomes part of understanding rather than a threat. Clarity also means intentions are not hidden behind charm or silence. What someone wants is expressed respectfully. There is no emotional guessing. Straightforwardness becomes kindness. When signals are mixed, the heart doubts itself. When clarity arrives, self-trust returns. You stop questioning your perception. You feel grounded in reality. Grounded hearts feel secure. Clarity removes emotional addiction to uncertainty. You stop craving reassurance through drama. Calm becomes enough. Enoughness brings contentment. In a clear relationship, future plans are not vague to keep options open. Direction is discussed openly. Commitment is not avoided. Honesty replaces emotional hedging. Clarity also respects time. You are not kept waiting for answers indefinitely. Delays are explained. Communication remains intact. Respect for time shows respect for the person. Clear relationships do not thrive on confusion. They thrive on truth. Even difficult truths feel better than emotional fog. Truth clears the heart. When clarity replaces mixed signals, peace becomes possible. Anxiety loses its fuel. The heart no longer chases meaning. It rests in what is known. In the end, clarity is not about perfection. It is about sincerity. And sincerity is one of the greatest forms of emotional mercy. Your Deen feels protected when you no longer feel pressured to trade obedience for acceptance. You are not subtly pushed to relax your values just to keep harmony. What Allah has made important is treated as important in your relationship. There is an unspoken respect for your boundaries. That respect gives your faith room to stay intact. In a relationship that protects Deen, prayer is not treated as an inconvenience. Your moments of worship are not interrupted casually or dismissed as excessive. Even when life is busy, space is made for salah. This priority sends a message to the heart that Allah comes first. That message strengthens iman quietly. Protection of Deen means you are not embarrassed for taking faith seriously. Your effort is not mocked or minimized. You are not made to feel outdated or extreme for holding on to principles. Instead, your sincerity is honored. Honor strengthens commitment. When Deen is protected, halal and haram are not debated emotionally. You are not persuaded to bend limits for comfort or closeness. Temptation is not justified in the name of love. The relationship does not test how far you are willing to compromise. That stability guards the conscience. Your faith feels safe because reminders are not hostile. They are not used to control or dominate. Islam is not weaponized during disagreements. Deen remains pure, separate from ego. This separation preserves its beauty. A protective relationship does not create guilt around obedience. You do not feel bad for choosing what pleases Allah. You are not made to apologize for prioritizing faith. Obedience is not framed as neglect. That framing keeps iman healthy. When Deen is protected, Your environment supports awareness. Conversations are mindful. Language is careful. Influences are considered. What enters the home is filtered with intention. This awareness strengthens consistency. You notice that your spouse becomes a shield in difficult moments. When situations could weaken your resolve, they help you pause. They remind you gently of consequences. That pause often saves the heart from regret. Protection happens quietly. Your Deen feels protected because you are not alone in restraint. Choosing the harder path feels shared. You are not made to feel dramatic for saying no. Solidarity strengthens resolve. Resolve keeps faith steady. In such a relationship, mistakes are handled with mercy, but not normalization. Sin is not justified. It is addressed with care. Repentance is encouraged without humiliation. Balance protects sincerity. Protection of Deen also shows in how time is used. You are not pulled endlessly into distraction. Time for remembrance is respected. Time for rest is balanced with responsibility. Balance keeps the heart alert. Your faith feels guarded because comparison is discouraged. You are not measured against others' religiosity. Your journey is respected. Comparison weakens iman. Respect strengthens it. A relationship that protects Deen does not rush spiritual growth. It does not demand immediate change. It allows faith to mature naturally. This patience prevents burnout. Sustainability becomes possible. When Deen is protected, doubts can be discussed safely. Questions are not shamed. Curiosity is not punished. Seeking understanding is welcomed. Openness keeps faith honest. You also notice that your spouse guards their own behavior. They are mindful of how their actions affect you. They do not create unnecessary tests. This self-awareness protects both hearts. Your faith feels protected during conflict. Arguments do not pull you into disobedience. Anger does not justify crossing lines. Restraint remains present. Restraint preserves dignity. Protection of Deen means faith is not sidelined during success. Comfort does not erase remembrance. Ease does not lead to heedlessness. Gratitude stays active. Awareness remains alive. When Deen is protected, you feel closer to Allah after being together, not further away. Your conscience feels clearer. Your heart feels lighter. Direction feels aligned. That alignment brings peace. You do not feel torn between love and obedience. There is no inner conflict about choosing Allah. The relationship supports your highest values. Support strengthens identity. Over time, this protection builds confidence in your faith. You stop fearing loss if you stay sincere. You trust that obedience will not cost you connection. That trust deepens iman. In the end, when your Deen feels protected, your heart feels safe with Allah and with your spouse. Faith is not surviving by effort alone. It is being guarded with care. And that is a powerful sign of a relationship aligned with Islam. Emotional safety is consistent when you do not have to guess which version of your spouse you will meet. Love does not fluctuate based on mood or convenience. Care is not withdrawn to teach lessons. Stability replaces unpredictability. The heart relaxes when safety is reliable. Reliability is what allows trust to take root. In a consistently safe relationship, your emotions are not treated as burdens. You are allowed to feel without being dismissed. Sadness is not labeled as weakness. Joy is not met with suspicion. Your inner world is welcomed as it is. That welcome keeps the heart open. Consistency means affection is not conditional. Kindness does not disappear after disagreement. Respect does not depend on agreement. Even in conflict, dignity remains intact. This steadiness teaches the heart that connection is secure. Security dissolves fear. Emotional safety shows in how mistakes are handled. Errors are addressed without humiliation. You are corrected without being crushed. Growth is encouraged without threat. This balance prevents emotional shutdown. The heart stays responsive instead of guarded. When safety is consistent, you are not afraid of honesty. You can speak your truth without rehearsing it 100 times. You do not filter your feelings to avoid backlash. Expression becomes natural. Natural expression keeps relationships alive. A safe environment does not punish vulnerability. Sharing fears does not lead to distance. Tears do not create discomfort. Openness is met with presence. Presence communicates care more than words. Care builds resilience. Consistency means boundaries are respected every time, not occasionally. Limits are not tested when it is convenient. Your no is heard without negotiation. Respect does not expire. This reliability strengthens self-trust. In emotionally safe relationships, conflict has structure. Disagreements do not spiral into chaos. Voices may rise, but contempt does not. Repair is expected, not avoided. Expectation of repair keeps hope intact. Safety also shows in listening. You are heard without interruption. Your words are not twisted or minimized. Understanding is sought before response. This patience calms the nervous system. Calm allows clarity. Consistent safety removes the need to perform. You do not act cheerful to keep peace. You do not hide pain to avoid tension. Authenticity is welcomed. Authenticity strengthens intimacy. When safety is present, apologies are sincere. Accountability is not forced. Ownership replaces defensiveness. This maturity reduces emotional wear. Less wear means more energy for growth. A safe relationship does not use silence as punishment. Space is given with explanation. Absence is not weaponized. Communication remains respectful. Respect keeps anxiety low. Consistency also means protection during stress. Pressure from outside does not excuse harshness inside. Care remains steady during hardship. Hard times reveal true safety. True safety endures strain. Emotional safety allows curiosity. You can ask questions without fear. You can disagree without being labeled disloyal. Exploration strengthens understanding. Understanding deepens connection. In safe environments, humor exists without cruelty. Playfulness does not cross into mockery. Laughter heals instead of wounds. Lightness balances seriousness. Balance sustains bonds. Consistency teaches the heart to trust patterns. Patterns of care create predictability. Predictability creates peace. Peace allows love to mature. Maturity replaces drama. Safety also guards against resentment. Issues are addressed early. Concerns are not stored for later attacks. Clean conversations prevent build-up. Prevention is a form of care. When emotional safety is consistent, you feel supported during growth. Change is not met with threat. Improvement is not taken personally. Support steadies transitions. Steadiness preserves unity. A consistently safe relationship respects timing. Conversations happen when hearts are ready. Pressure is avoided. Wisdom guides pace. Wise pacing protects emotions. Over time, consistent safety reshapes identity. You become more confident, not smaller. Self-respect increases. Increased self-respect strengthens faith. Faith thrives in safe hearts. In the end, emotional safety that is consistent does not announce itself loudly. It is felt quietly, daily, and reliably. It shows up when it is hardest to show up. And that quiet reliability is what allows love, faith, and peace to last. You feel more yourself when a relationship does not demand that you shrink to survive. You are not constantly editing your personality to avoid conflict. You do not feel like certain parts of you are too much or not enough. Instead, your presence is welcomed as it is. That acceptance allows your identity to breathe. And when identity breathes, the soul feels relief. In a healthy relationship, you are not slowly losing your voice. You do not stop expressing opinions just to keep peace. Your thoughts are not dismissed or overridden. You are allowed to speak without fear of being misunderstood on purpose. That freedom strengthens self-respect. Feeling more yourself means you are not emotionally exhausted from pretending. You do not act cheerful when you are hurting. You do not hide sadness to avoid tension. Authentic emotion is allowed to exist. Honesty becomes normal, not risky. When a relationship is right, it does not blur your sense of self. You know what you believe, what you value, and where you stand. You are not constantly second-guessing your instincts. Clarity about who you are brings emotional stability. Stability replaces self-doubt. You feel more yourself because you are not competing for space. Your needs are not treated as inconveniences. You do not feel guilty for wanting rest, respect, or understanding. Your humanity is acknowledged. Acknowledgement validates existence. A peaceful relationship does not require you to abandon your principles. You are not pressured to compromise values to be loved. You do not feel torn between staying true to yourself and staying connected. Alignment replaces inner conflict. Inner conflict is exhausting. When you are more yourself, you are not afraid of being seen. You do not hide parts of your personality to fit expectations. Your spouse does not demand a curated version of you. They accept growth and imperfection. Acceptance nurtures confidence. You also feel more yourself when humor feels natural. You laugh freely without fear of judgment. Playfulness is welcomed. Light moments are not punished. Joy becomes safe. Safe joy strengthens bonds. A relationship that allows you to be yourself does not label boundaries as rejection. Saying no does not threaten the connection. Limits are respected without guilt. Respect reinforces identity. Identity reinforces peace. You feel more yourself because you are not constantly apologizing for existing. You do not over-explain your emotions. You trust that you will be understood. Trust reduces anxiety. Reduced anxiety brings calm. In such a relationship, growth does not erase who you are. Becoming better does not mean becoming someone else. Your core remains intact while maturity deepens. Continuity grounds the heart. Grounded hearts feel safe. You are also not pressured to match someone else's pace or personality. Differences are allowed. Individuality is respected. You are not measured against an ideal. This respect prevents comparison. Comparison erodes self-worth. Feeling more yourself means you do not feel emotionally drained after interactions. Conversations energize rather than exhaust. You leave feeling seen instead of confused. Clarity replaces tension. Tension fades. Your spouse does not rewrite your reality. Your feelings are not invalidated. Your experiences are not minimized. Validation supports emotional truth. Emotional truth keeps identity intact. You also notice that your faith feels more natural. When you are yourself, worship feels sincere. You are not performing religiosity to impress. Sincerity grows when identity is secure. Secure identity strengthens iman. A healthy relationship allows you to reflect without fear. You can think, process, and grow at your own pace. You are not rushed into conclusions. Thoughtfulness is respected. Respect allows wisdom. You feel more yourself because love does not feel conditional. Care does not disappear when you disagree. Consistency reinforces belonging. Belonging stabilizes the heart. In relationships that diminish you, confusion grows. In relationships that honor you, clarity grows. You begin to recognize your own voice again. Recognition brings strength. Strength brings peace. Over time, Being more yourself leads to deeper connection. You are loved for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. Authenticity deepens intimacy. Intimacy becomes safe. In the end, a relationship that brings peace does not take pieces of you away. It returns you to yourself. And when you feel more yourself, you feel closer to Allah, because you are no longer hiding behind fear.